You may remember us, what, April, May time last year, of covering the plight of the British, well, not only just daffodil farmers, but again, flower growers here in the UK. It is an incredibly seasonal industry. Of course, certain flowers only grow at a certain time. If you want to grow flowers all the year round, well, put it this way, you ain't probably going to do that in Britain without having probably a very substantial investment in greenhouses and, of course, the stuff to be able to actually grow them. And again, that takes a whole lot of money to be able to do that. Indeed, there are so very few of those locations around the country that they are not only tend to be quite small, not on an industrial scale, but those flowers, when they are grown obviously year round, tend to demand an incredibly high price. But meanwhile, the other farmers who, again, having to rely pretty much on the seasonality of not only growing the flowers, but crops as well, have found this year indeed particularly hard. And once again, as I said, time and time again, first of all, farmers started complaining about the seasonal problem. We can't get the pickers to come and pick them. So we ended up with not only just daffodils rotting in the fields, but all sorts of produce rotting in the fields. And trust me, farmers this year are probably going to grow a whole lot less than almost certainly did last year and even the year before that, because they know they can't get the staff to come in and pick the goods. If they can't get the goods picked, then they can't take them to market. And that caused, of course, the second problem. We had the transport crisis, not only caused, of course, by the problems of the coronavirus, but of course, because of the lack of drivers now coming from the EU. Again, still very much a problem because now they can't get the people to come pick up the produce to be able to take it to market. And this not only caused a problem for the arable farmers, but the pastoral farmers as well, because now they can't get the pigs. We've seen massive cullings of pigs this year because they literally just do not have the space in the slaughterhouses because, again, there is a worker crisis because, surprise, surprise, all the workers who probably worked in the slaughterhouse, the vast majority of them came from the EU. And this is just going to be a problem that keeps on recycling itself. I guarantee you we will be seeing stories about this again this year. But today we are talking about British farmers, as you can see here from the title here and of course the title down below. We're talking about how Irish farmers have been, well, profiting from British farmers, shall we say, lack of access to the market they used to have access to. And as far as they're concerned, it's great news for them. They're almost certainly going to be taking advantage of all this. So, as always, let's find out what's going on over in Ireland and how, well, Irish farmers are indeed profiting from, shall we say, the misery of their, shall we say, British counterparts. But as always, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So let's go diving into this. Today's story comes from the Irish Times with the title of Brexit Puts a Spring in the Step of Irish Daffodil Farmers. Many people curse Brexit as a disaster, but for Cole Meath, the daffodil farmer of Darren McClung, he is led to very blossoming profits. Britain's difficulty has become Ireland's opportunity. As new UK borders now prevent migrant flower pickers from entering Britain, this now plays into the Irish daffodil growers' hands. Brexit has been incredibly good to us because Brexit has made it very difficult for the UK businesses to get seasonable labour, says McClung, the horticulturalist and the agricultural journalist based in Gormston. The UK has tightened up its whole immigration regime, and the daffodil pickers is like apple picking or strawberry picking. It is entirely dependent on seasonal labour. And we've covered this all last year, even before this, how important seasonal labour is and how having freedom of movement was massively beneficial, not only to UK farmers, but indeed to the economy as a whole. And by the way, the more this happens, by the way, and the UK, the EU being our closest market, then the less the EU will buy from the UK because it's cheaper to get your goods elsewhere other than Britain. And bear in mind, that is an incredibly bad situation for the UK to be in, because if we've got to now rely on markets that are further away, that will also hurt our economy. Just because you get a trade deal with Australia doesn't mean the Australians are suddenly going to start buying more British produce. Not at all. Because remember, Australia's halfway around the world. France, Belgium, Ireland, they're a far shorter distance. And as we've said before, distance in trade still matters. But Brexiteers still don't understand this. And of course, as this happens, that's going to lead to less trade, which will lead to less investment, which will lead to less jobs. That's Britain's future, unfortunately. It's unfortunately one that is far, far too easy to predict and show. But again, Brexiteers do not seem to even understand basic, simple math problems like that 2 + 2 does indeed equal 4. So, Britain is the source of at least 80% of the world's daffodils every year, and growing is concentrated in Cornwall in the southwest of England. Prices can rise even when a small part of the Cornish daffodil farm's crop is affected, allowing the Irish daffodil exporters such as McCollum to benefit from prices almost doubling. The price paid per flower to supplier for a bunch of 10 daffodil stems has risen from 25 cents to close to 50 cents on average. When one British operators find they can get 20 cents for their crop picked, that leaves a major shortage. In effect, daffodils are a commodity like grain or beef. When there is at least 1 or 2% shortage, prices go bananas, said McCollum. Since Brexit, he estimates that his prices have increased by about 30 cents. Daffodil bulbs have also risen by 40% over the last 2 years. And of course, the post-Brexit EU border controls on plant products having discouraged British farmers from exporting bulbs to Europe, giving McCollum and other Irish farmers yet another economic lift. Most UK farmers are parochial. They have such a large domestic market that they don't need to rely on exports. And of course, the export markets look after the excess, he says. The idea that they would have to turn around and get themselves inspected by EU's inspectors to try and qualify their crop for international export into the European Union, they are saying, sod that, pay me my sterling and just bog off. It has dampened their appetite for growing bulbs for export. McCollum has also enjoyed the benefit from prices rising as a result of more people gardening during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our prices would have been going up anyway, but Brexit has certainly added the fuel to the fire, he says. Are we shocked and surprised by this? No. Of course this is going to happen, and I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if you could find similar businesses, similar stories of businesses in France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, finding that they are indeed profiting from, shall we say, this from Brexit. And again, this will lead to less exports. People will stop buying from the UK. And when your closest market stops buying from you, that is a huge problem. This right here is a very indicator of early warning signs of bad things to come. And it's not just exports, it's imports as well, that this year are also now going to be affected. And as I've said before, we're going to go back to the 1970s. And this is not just me saying that. We've had other people, articles we've gone through on here saying this is what's going to happen. And people will tell you who lived through that age, the 70s weren't good. They weren't good at all, especially for the British economy. And I've kept on saying it, but 2022 is not going to be a good year for a whole lot of people in this country. And a whole lot of industries are all set to, I think, really find out what Brexit really means this year. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.